podcast. I'm here with Ethan. I'm here with Rod, and today we're going to be talking about everyone's favorite team from the state of Colorado, the Denver Nuggets. So the Nuggets brought in Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Braun this offseason to help them propel themselves towards a championship. Rod, how are you feeling about the Denver Nuggets right now?
I think all things being considered, they actually overachieved last season. I don't know how many teams could lose their second and third best players by mid-November and still finish with 48 wins in a very competitive conference. A lot of credit, obviously, to Jokic. He walked away with his second straight MVP, but also I think Mike Malone deserves some praise. I think he's one of the better coaches in the league, kept that team together after disaster struck, and I think they will look very different, obviously. They got rid of Will Barton, Monte Morris, Austin Rivers, adding in guys who don't need the ball in their hands as often. You mentioned KCP, Braun, but without a doubt, their two biggest additions next season will be Jamal Murray and Michael Porter. They've missed Jamal now for feels like 2 straight years, and Michael Porter, even when he was playing last year, was very stinky due to his injury. So, I mean, it will be very interesting to see if this 48 win team can jump all the way to a contender.
I'm definitely interested to see how the Nuggets are going to do this season. I think the loss of Will Barton will kind of hurt them in a way because he was their second best player. He was kind of their at
He
times.
was, but that's not a good
Yeah,
thing.
I
Yeah.
know, but he was their second best player whenever Jokic, was doing his thing. So I think I definitely think that the Nuggets are going to look different, but I also think that they're not as high as people are saying they're going to be this season. I think looking at how they're going to do this season, getting Jamal Murray back, getting Michael Porter Jr. back is huge for them. But we've seen a Jokic that has held the ball for literally the entire season since, or past 2 seasons, right? Yeah, the
Yeah.
past 2 seasons since Jamal Murray has been out. And the offense is run completely different now. And I think with the addition of Jamal Murray coming back, being that point guard to facilitate the ball, I think it's going to be very different for the Nuggets. And I don't think that they're going to achieve as much as people think they will.
So first of all, the loss of Will Barton, I'm not worried about it at all for the Nuggets. I mean, they added Braun, a guy who was able to have a great season last year in a tumultuous situation, to say the least. In the playoffs, you could argue he was the Nets' third best player. I don't think there's any argument to be had there. And secondly, you talking about the Nuggets shifting their offensive system just because Jamal Murray is coming back. I think if anything has been made evident over these past 2 seasons, it's that Jokic is one of those rare guys who instantly makes every single player on the floor around him better. I don't know if we've ever seen it at the center position in the NBA to the scale that Jokic does it. And if you have a success at the level that the Nuggets did when Will Barton's your second best player, you're not going to go out and change your whole offensive system just because Jamal Murray's coming back. I get that he's your point guard and you want the ball in his hands, but if he's not the best passer on the team, why would you want to run the offense through him?
Nah, I think you're right about that. And I can confirm by looking through the Nuggets fan pages, they did throw a parade when Will Barton got traded. So that's one positive this offseason already. But I do want to bring up Ethan's point because he also mentioned this in the top 10 centers video that Jokic has kind of only jumped to this MVP level in the absence of Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, especially. So I do think it is fair to assume that Jokic, at least individually, will have to change up his play style a bit. I mean, it's not going to be anywhere close. I mean, his touches this upcoming season compared to what they've been the last 2 years. Jamal Murray will have the ball in his hands more than anybody on the Nuggets last season. Michael Porter will have the ball in his hands more than anybody on the Nuggets last season outside of Jokic. So I think it will be a bit, of a learning curve to kind of integrate these guys back in because the last time Jamal Murray played with Jokic in the bubble, he didn't have two MVPs on his shelf. So I think they will figure it out, but at least early on, I do think we're going to see some growing pains.
I don't think it's just going to be early on. I think it's going to be throughout the season. I think this season is going to have to be like a get well season. And then for the next season, maybe they can put it together. Actually, no, they will be able to because they'll get used to the system without Jokic running the ball the whole time. Again, my issue is just for the past 2 seasons, you've had Jokic basically just facilitating the entire thing. Jamal Murray hasn't been there since the bubble, and Michael Porter Jr. can't stay healthy. So we're looking at a team that basically has had Jokic and a bunch of turds I mean, and great for them that they were able to pull out 48 wins. Honestly, great for them. But and you talk about JJ, you talk about the addition of Bruce Brown.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about a shiny turd in a pile full of cow poop, bro.
I don't know
The,
about
the
that.
Nuggets, not the Nuggets, the Nets.
Uh-huh.
What besides Katie and Kyrie, it was a bunch of old veterans, and you had Bruce Brown.
Okay.
And
Well,
I
so
mean,
what's your point?
I just think that you're holding him a little bit too high.
See, I disagree. Bruce Brown played very well in the 4 playoff games that he played last year against the league's best defense in the Boston Celtics. Bruce Brown is more than capable of being a spot up shooter. He can create his own shot. He's very good at getting to the rim, and he is a positive defender.
But that's not fair because you and I both know that Ime Udoka was basically saying, let Bruce Brown beat us. And it wasn't working. The entire time he was getting all of his points is because the Celtics were leaving him open to either put another body on KD, actually keep another body on KD, and then have another one shadow Kyrie. That was basically what they were doing, and then keeping Robert Williams in the middle.
So
that
you're
was
saying,
basically
wait,
the
hold on.
game plan.
So you're saying Bruce Brown only had success because the Nets had one guy that you got to throw multiple bodies at and another guy that you have to shadow.
Yes.
So you'd have to throw multiple bodies to stop Nikola Jokic, right? Right? Hear me out. And then you have to shadow the point guard, Jamal Murray.
I don't have to shadow Jamal Murray. I'm sorry.
But you were just saying
Not like
how much
Kyrie.
he's going to have the ball in his hands, how much he's going to change their offense.
Kyrie's a lunatic, but I know that man has game compared to Jamal Murray. Come on, man.
The last time we saw Jamal Murray hooping, it was in the bubble. And back to what you said.
You know who else we saw in there? TJ Warren. TJ Warren looked like the next coming of Michael Jordan. TJ Warren wasn't
hooping throughout the whole bubble, but Jamal Murray was.
Yeah, but he was in there.
Like for like 4 games.
Everybody knows that the bubble was different though because there was no fans in there and the arena was basically like an open gym. Everyone knows that.
That's fine. Jamal Murray was hooping in front of crowds, not to the extent in the bubble, but he's still a borderline all-star at his peak.
With the ball in his hands, which brings me
Ethan,
back to
he's gonna
Nikola
have the
Jokic.
ball in his hands. Who do you think's gonna be passing him the ball? We're talking about the best passing big man of all time.
Not the pass. No, he's not gonna be the passing big man anymore. That's what I'm saying. It's gonna.
You're
be
saying they're not gonna let
Murray.
Jokic pass the ball anymore. Jokic's assists are gonna tank this season.
They're not gonna tank, but it's not gonna be like
CBT fans, watch Jokic's assist stats this year. They will not tank. Back to talking about the
Nuggets. They're not gonna tank.
Right?
They're just gonna drop.
By how much?
Maybe like an assist and a half.
I think that's fair.
That's not unreasonable. The way you're saying, it's like he's gonna just completely fall out of the assist leader contention.
No, he's still gonna have his games, and Jamal Murray's not gonna play every single game. I think it's gonna be like maybe a 50-game season for him.
And Ethan, also Jamal Murray and Jokic aren't necessarily always on the court at the same time. I think that's something you're failing to remember as well.
I guess.
But back to talking about the Nuggets and what they're capable of this season. So we said they added Bruce Brown. They added KCP, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, who has shown that he's capable of being a player who gets solid minutes on a championship level team. He did it with the Lakers in 2020. So I think the Nuggets have all the pieces they need. They're getting Jamal Murray back. They're getting Michael Porter Jr. back. Like I said, at their peaks, Jamal Murray more so than Porter, but they're borderline all-stars. And when you put them to support the 2-time MVP, a guy who can dominate the offense in so many different ways, I think this is a team that is capable of making a very deep run in the playoffs, maybe even all the way to the finals, just because Jokic is so good that he gives them a chance to win every game they step out and play.
No, I definitely think it's a good problem to have for the Nuggets to try and decide who's going to bring the ball up, who's going to initiate the offense, any given possession between Jamal, Jokic, and MPJ. But I think, like you said, that's also where the Bruce Browns and the KCPs come into play because they can pick up, including Aaron Gordon as well, they can pick up the other team's best guard, their best wing, and their best forward, and let that trio of Jamal, Jokic, and MPJ just focus on offense. And also, I mean, Bruce Brown could take 1 shot a game or 10 shots a game. He doesn't really care. There aren't guys that are going to complain when they don't get the ball, and Jokic is definitely going to put them in the best opportunities to get open shots and easy shots. But I do think that by the time they gel and Mike Malone figures out how to stagger their minutes so that they're not all on the court on the set like at the same time for the whole game, I do think this is a team that could get hot like the Grizzlies did or like the Mavericks did post All-Star break and really start racking off some wins. And I'm not surprised if they get some favorable matchups. Like I think they could really beat the Suns if they got the Suns in the first round, or I think they could beat the Grizzlies, or they could beat, I don't, well, that might be it. I think the Warriors and Clippers would definitely give them problems. Maybe they fare better against the Clippers again, but I do think this is a team that if they're healthy come playoff time, they have a fighter's chance against anybody.
See, my thing when it comes to the Nuggets is yes, they're totally a great team to watch. You know, Jokic, Jamal Murray, MPJ, like they're gonna be great to watch. Don't get me wrong. I just don't think they're gonna gel as everyone thinks. I also think that definitely the Warriors and the Clippers are front ahead of them. I don't think they can get past either one of those teams. Also, a sleeper team to watch, Timberwolves. I think definitely the Timberwolves would give them a run for their money.
Yeah.
Having both Cat and Rudy Gobert against Jokic, I think, especially with Rudy Gobert, and then who's gonna guard Cat? I
Yeah, that
think
would be an
definitely they could.
unfavorable matchup for the
Mhm.
Nuggets.
Yeah.
That would be a bad matchup for the Nuggets.
So I think maybe those three teams, maybe 2.5, let's say. I'm not high on the Grizzlies as much as I love to watch them. They're definitely a fun team to watch. There's still something missing from there. I'm still missing one or two key pieces to watch from there. What else am I missing? What other teams?
Suns.
Suns are up in the air. That's a topic for another day. They're up in the air. So I really think the Nuggets maybe 3-4 in the West just to get to the finals. It's going to be a bloodbath come playoff time, especially trying to get over those Clippers and the Warriors. I think they couldn't get past the Warriors at all due to the fact that James Wiseman is going to be back. James Wiseman is going to be back. James, whatever. James. James Wiseman is going to be there, you know, and healthy, hopefully. And then I think the Clippers they can't guard the Clippers in any way, shape, or form. So definitely the Nuggets are not there.
So Ethan, you're talking a lot about, I know they haven't played together in a couple of years now, but you're talking a lot about the struggles to gel Jokic, MPJ, and Jamal Murray together. I think you're forgetting they played together in the past and have had success playing together in the past. This isn't like a foreign concept to the three of them.
No, yes, definitely. But that also was before Jokic's 2-time MVP.
But Jokic was still playing at an all-star level, an all-NBA level prior to them going down.
Yes, all-star level, definitely. Yes.
All-NBA level.
Yes. But now we're talking about 2-time MVP.
But
Jokic.
see, this is the thing.
Different.
Now that they have those two guys back, they don't need Jokic to be playing at that MVP level to contend anymore. Before, they had to rely entirely on Jokic. Now, if Jokic has a stinker of a game, they can fall back on offensive talents like Jamal Murray and MPJ, and they'll be just fine. And yes, I am understanding that almost everything would have to go right for the Nuggets to make the NBA Finals, much less win it. But like you said, Rod, they do have a fighter's chance. KCP, just like you said, doesn't complain. He's the perfect role player for this team where you have three guys who are ball dominant. I mean, he played in an ankle bracelet and didn't complain. Like, he's going to do good things for the Nuggets. Aaron Gordon, I would feel confident putting him up against any player in the Western Conference. Obviously, some would still give him buckets just because they're, you know, they get buckets. But Aaron Gordon is a very good defender. So yeah, the Nuggets could make a deep run, although I do not think it is super likely. Any final thoughts about the Nuggets from either of you?
They're going to be fun to watch, and I really am looking forward to the Western Conference playoffs.
I will admit, I actually did forget that Aaron Gordon was on that team. I think maybe it's because he didn't play as well as everyone was hoping for once he left the
He was decent
Magic.
last year, actually.
He's a role player now.
Yeah, he's a role player. That's what I'm saying. I just forgot that Aaron Gordon was on that team at this point because I remember. What were you gonna say?
If he's not doing 360 dunks, you don't see him on, you know,
Yeah.
NBA's Instagram or anything.
No, definitely, especially because, like, you know, looking at the box scores, he wasn't scoring that much, so I just kind of played it off as like, oh, it's another role player. But yeah, like I've been saying, not a finals team. Definitely a fun team to watch come playoff time, but I don't think it's gonna work out as well as people think it will.
All right, well, I think that's going to do it for us in today's video. I'm going to ask that you please drop a like, subscribe, leave a comment. How well do you think the Nuggets are going to do this year? Do you think Jokic is going to just stop passing the ball because the other two guys are back? Will Wembanyama help this team out next year? Who knows? Thank you guys once again for watching, and we will see you in the next video.